So to those who are watching the replay, welcome. I want to remind you that you can still post comments and questions. I'll get a ping and I'll go ahead and reply to those when I receive it. And if you're joining me live, thank you so much. As you hop on, if you haven't already, please say hello, introduce yourself, say where you're joining us from, and all of that. Put a little smiley face or something. It's a great morning. I just came in from a run. So I threw on some clothes real quick and a little bit of lip gloss, got a little messy hair, and I feel so good. It feels so good to get your workout in early in the morning. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I do. So I'm Jessica Perez-Beebe. I'm here live every Saturday at 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern. These Saturday sessions are basically free coaching sessions with me. So this is a session where I give you some kind of valuable information or insight around a specific topic that can help you improve your life. I always end with a takeaway tip, okay? And today's topic is change and uncertainty. We're going to talk about how to use it to your advantage, how to find the perfect balance in your life, and how to not let it confuse you or frustrate you. Okay, so this topic is for those of you who actually like change and variety, and for those of you who do not like it or even fear it and avoid it at all cost. Okay, I've got a valuable takeaway tip for both mindsets around this topic, okay? Because you're going to find out later that we generally fall into two of those different mindsets. Okay, so first of all, who am I? For those of you who are joining me for the first time, thank you. I'm Jessica Perez-Beebe. I teach people how to use specific mindset strategies to accomplish their goals and to improve their life. Okay, so I've been a coach for more than a decade, working with hundreds, probably thousands at this point, of people in health, in fitness, and in business. And across the board in every single area, what I found is the common sticking point or block when it came to anyone not being able to achieve their goal or live the kind of lifestyle that they want or have the kind of relationship that they want or just experience overall, happiness and fulfillment. The common block has always been mindset. So today, I'm going to give you a specific mindset strategy regarding change and uncertainty that you can begin to use right away to achieve any goal that you have and to improve your life. So before we get started, for those of you who are joining live on Facebook, and I see a lot of you on Instagram, do me a favor. I've got a question for you. I want to know which category you fall into, okay? So are you someone who welcomes change and variety in your life, or are you someone who resists change in your life? So if you can, type in the comments right now that you either welcome or resist change. I want to hear from you. This is going to give me an idea as I'm talking where most of you fall into. So go ahead and post in the comments. Okay, I see some resisting coming in. So some people who resist change. Anybody out there who welcomes change? More people than not do not like change. That's true. So even if you're joining me on the replay, you can post in the comments whether you resist or welcome change. I'm going to go back and look and see where our biggest category lies. So that I know I'm someone who, let's see, I can't see that last one. Thinks she wants change, but find I resist it. Okay, that's very common. So right now on both sides, I'm seeing a lot of people who resist change. So that's good. This is good. This is good for me to know. Okay, as we go on and I get into this topic, I want you to stay engaged, please. If you're on here live, even if you're watching the replay, if I say something that resonates with you, please throw me a like, a thumbs up, a heart, something that lets me know that you hear me and that this is connecting with you, okay? I always get notifications, so I'll go back and answer any questions or anything like that. All right, let me get a sip of my warm water. That's what I have today. I'm trying to kick the caffeine. Who's with me on that? I kicked caffeine for a while, and then my husband started brewing it and it smelled so good. So I started drinking it again. But I find if I drink too much caffeine, my throat gets really sore. So here we go. Let's jump into change and uncertainty. So change and uncertainty is actually one of the 6 human needs. That's based on human need psychology. So that means we all need and actually do desire to some degree some sort of change and uncertainty in our life in order for us to feel human. Okay, so there's 6 human needs across the board, and all of us must meet those needs to some degree. So yes, even those of you on here who've told me they hate change or fear change or resist change, even you subconsciously desire it to a certain degree in your life, okay? And there is a way to find out which of these 6 human needs you're mostly motivated by. And I do recommend that you find that out because it will make your life easier in so many ways. And I'll let you know before the end of this conversation. Okay, so change and uncertainty is inevitable. We all know that. We can't prevent it and we cannot control it. But what we can control, and you've heard this before, is how we handle it. Okay, so as I touched on earlier, people generally fall under, I'm going to boost myself up here and try not to roll away as I do it. We generally fall under one of 2 categories. Okay, so you either like change and variety in your life and adapt to it really well, regardless of the situation, or you resist and fear change. And since several of you on here said that you resist change, I want to speak to that just really quickly. It's not a bad thing, right? So don't think of yourself as less than the other person who is open to it. It's part of what makes you who you are, okay? And part of that is because someone who resists or fears change, is most at ease when they have stability and security in their life, right? Consistency. And so those are the things that they value. They value consistency in their life and stability and comfort. Okay, so things like, for instance, a breakup or a divorce or a career change, even something like your kids growing up and moving out of the house, those kinds of things that sometimes are inevitable, that can be a time of great stress for somebody who is resistant to change. Okay, even more so than the average person. So we all have stress and pain when we go through some of those life changes. But for someone who doesn't handle change well, that can turn into years, maybe decades of pain and stress in that area if they don't find a way to problem solve through it. So it's really important for those people who don't handle stress well to figure out those ways to problem solve it. And so that's what we're doing a little bit of today. Does that make sense to you? Those of you out there who said that you resist change, can you see yourself in that description? Yes. Okay, good. So then there's a third category. Okay. And this one is a little bit more extreme. So people in the third category not only like change and uncertainty and variety, but they are mainly motivated by it. Remember how we talked about the 6 motivators, which we're going to get to quickly at the end of this? Each of us is mainly motivated by one of these 6 human needs. And so there are some people out there, and some of you may be listening right now, who are mainly motivated by change, variety, uncertainty, and you actually need it for your emotional well-being. So some people don't even realize that this is what they're motivated by, but people in this category naturally crave change and variety. Okay. And they're actually motivated by challenge and excitement, even chaos in their life. I don't know if anyone out there is in this third category, but if you are, you'll see yourself in this description right away. So someone who falls into this third category, if they don't have regular change and variety in their life, they actually feel unfulfilled. They feel unchallenged. They feel bored, depressed. Not good, because that feeling for these type of people can lead to really self-destructive ways of trying to get that excitement. Okay, so if that sounds like you or someone that you know, pardon me, then you'll know what I'm saying. Now, the upside of this person, hi, Bella. The upside of this, Bella, I know that you're just joining now. And if you want to catch the whole thing, we're about 15 minutes in. You can catch it on my Facebook page, and I'll type it in the comments, okay? So the upside of this person is that they're typically interesting and fun and have a lot of friends, and glass half full person, very upbeat. They're not afraid to take risks, all of those things. But the challenge for these people is that they tend to be really unfocused and not see things through to the end. Okay, and typically can be careless about what's important and who's important. Good morning, Perla. People may feel that you're unreliable, or actually you sometimes often trust people too easily. So for those who fall into that extreme third category, the key for you is knowing how to balance it in your life so that you're not in constant chaos, and that you can actually accomplish the things that you set out to accomplish instead of getting distracted. And there's lots of ways to do that, but the first step is for you to find out for sure if that's your main motivator. You don't want to just guess at that. And for everyone on the call, knowing what your main motivator is under those 6 human need motivators, that's the first step to really getting to know yourself a little bit better, what you're motivated by, and kind of unwrap some of that mystery to why you might be stuck in certain areas. So you may be mainly motivated by what we're talking about today, by change and variety, but it could be love and connection. It could be significance. It might be growth, which is mine. It could be contribution or certainty. Certainty is kind of the opposite of change and variety. So if we're talking about all this change and variety and you're on the back end like, oh my God, even just talking about it makes me nervous, and you know that it takes you a long time to make a change, you're likely someone who's mainly motivated by certainty. And so knowing that about yourself and all the details and insight into that is going to really help you be able to handle it in your life. Okay, so I'm going to type in the comments here in just a minute how you can find out what your main motivator is. And the cool thing about this is a quiz that I have on my website, and it's a quiz that I lead with really when I'm working with clients one-on-one, because it helps us to really have a foundation. It's kind of your blueprint, so to speak. And I know it was a game changer for me in my life when I took this quiz. This is something that I learned in my training as a life coach and strategic intervention coach. So it's a real game changer. It really helps you to understand yourself, to improve your relationships with people. It increases your chances of succeeding, accomplishing your goals. All those things will open up for you. So I'm going to pop that quiz down in the comments section. And then I'm going to give you your takeaway tip for today. Okay. That quiz is right there at the bottom. If you click on that and go to it, you can discover what you're mainly motivated by. And you're going to receive, the cool thing is you get this really nice personalized report so that you can understand why you do the things you do and see how it's serving you and how it could be holding you back. Okay. So it's an awesome quiz. You can take that if you want to know more about yourself. So let's get back to change and uncertainty. So first tip, for those of you who, let's just go right into those of you who fear and resist change, since that's what I'm hearing from most of you on this live. So the ultimate goal for you is to not be paralyzed by change, to not be overpowered by change in your life or uncertainty in your life. Okay, so think of a current situation right now in your life, if you will, or something that was really recent or might be coming up for you. An area where you might be resisting some change. Okay, get that thought in your mind. Go ahead and experience how that feels, whatever kind of emotion or physical feeling that brings up for you. Because those feelings are real, right? Those are the feelings that you're experiencing. But the next thing I want you to do is I want you to think back to a past situation where there was a big change in your life that needed to be made. And whether it's a change that you made or a change that someone made for you, or something that just happened that created immediate change or uncertainty in your life. I'm sure you can think of one, big thing in your life. So at that time, you were fearful, right? You were resisting that change, just like you may tend to do with other changes in your life. You may have been angry about it, and you were just having a lot of resistance to it. So I want you to think about now how long you resisted that change. So think about all the ways in which you tried to stop it from happening, or you tried to fight it, or you tried to talk it away, push it away. You just resisted it. Maybe it caused anger, maybe it caused depression, maybe it, all of those feelings that it brought up for you. Let them come up and remember how long you went through that process. Okay. How long did you resist that change? Okay. And then I want you to fast forward a little bit, because you couldn't prevent it, right? Change is inevitable. So whatever it was that you were resisting had to happen, right? And it eventually happened if it didn't right then at that time. So fast forward a little bit and look at your life or that specific situation after the change finally passed, right? So after you were on the other side of it. And start to ask yourself, and even write these things down. Journaling is a good practice for, cleaning out these old things that kind of can keep us blocked moving forward. So what were some of the good things that came out of that change once it was finally gone? So even though you didn't want it, and now you're on the other end of it, what are some of the things that were actually positive? What was the upside of that change? How did it actually ultimately improve your life? Okay. Now, when you look back on that, ask yourself, do you wish you had made that change sooner? Not resisted it so much, allowed it to pass? Knowing what you know now, what fears do you now realize may have been a waste of your time, right? So what fear or resistance were you hanging on to in that moment that prolonged the change from happening? So, if you look back now, can you say, I wish I would have made that change, a couple months earlier, a couple years earlier, a decade earlier? How might my life be different now? Yes, everything happens for a reason. However, sometimes we prolong, right, what can be ours and what change and opening in our life, we could have it at a much earlier time. So if you look back on that, can you say to yourself, if I had made that change earlier, my life may be differently now? If you could go back, what would you have done differently? How would you have handled the situation differently? How would you have looked at the situation differently? Good. I see some yeses. So that's what I want you to think about. So think about how your life might be different or better now if you had made that change sooner. Okay. And keep that thought and journal this. This is really good, because as you start writing, it will bring up more stuff. So write down all of those feelings, everything that you went through, and how your life could be different now if you had made that change sooner. And then when you're dealing with your current situation that is bringing up some resistance for you, whatever's coming up. And maybe it hasn't come up yet. Maybe there's going to be some change that comes up. There always is, or transition in our life. And if you start to have those feelings of fear, of anxiety, of resistance about that change, keep all these things in mind that you're remembering from a past change that you feared that actually turned out really well. Okay, because that change is going to come again. And so now you'll have that mindset to wrap around it. Okay, now, for those of you who are in the second category where you are open to change, and it's not that you go out seeking it constantly, but you welcome change and you're able to roll with the punches, there's really not too much of a takeaway tip for you because you're really in that sweet spot. And so you can kind of exhale on this one. Like I said, if you take the motivators quiz that I put in the link here, you'll find where your sticking points are, because whatever we're mainly motivated by is where we can find some sticking points. And whatever we're the complete opposite of is where we can find some sticking points. So the takeaway tip that I have now is for that third category. Okay, so this is for that person who craves constant change in their life. Okay, so is seeking it out in every area. So the goal for these people is to focus on the present. Focus on your present goal or project all the way through to completion, because this is the type of person who is really excited about everything and jumps into the next thing, typically without even considering and weighing the pros and cons. So for this person, they often can kind of exhaust themselves and move on to the next thing before they've finished the first thing. So your goal is to focus on the present all the way until you've completed something. And so the questions for you are pretty much like they were for the first category or mindset around change. And that is to look back on an area where you had something in your life, like a big goal or a project or even a relationship that you wish you had seen all the way through. So think of something that you may have quit too soon, or something that you kind of bailed out on or didn't give 100% because you moved on to the next thing. When you look back on it, when you look back, look for that thing in your life that you say to yourself, man, that could have been like this much better if I had have given it 100%, if I had have stayed with it, if I hadn't changed course so quickly. Even think about that with relationships, because this type of person also can often move on to relationships really quickly. Okay, so ask yourself, how might that have turned out better for myself or others involved if I had seen it all the way through, if I hadn't quit so soon? And then I want you to, again, write that down and keep that in mind for the next thing that you take on, or for one of the several things that you currently are taking on, because normally you've got a whole bunch of irons in the fire. So try to find the one thing right now that you can give 100% of your focus on until it is completed, and then move on to the next thing. Okay, so I hope that resonated with you guys today on either sides of the aisle. And I love to get your feedback. Even if you're not on live right now, please write in the comments what you liked about today's topic, what you'd like to see more of, or ask me any questions. I'd also appreciate it if you could share this on your pages or tag a friend. Sharing is caring, right? So my goal is to make a difference in the world by teaching what I know about mindset to make whatever you want become a reality. I've done it in my life. I want to share it with others, and you can help me do that. And So if you can, sharing is caring. If you can pass it on, right, the more that we give, we receive in return. So thank you for that. I hope you'll take the quiz. And when you take the quiz, come back to here and post in the comments, if you will, what your main motivator is, or email me. I love to hear from people after they take the quiz because it's so insightful. And it will blow your mind. Because it really taps into who you are and kind of calls you out on the things that you do that are holding you back. We all need to be called out every now and then, right? And it also, kind of it pats you on the back for some of the things that you do really well. So improving in our life, self-development is all about getting to know ourselves better and loving ourselves through the changes. Okay, so listen, thank you for joining me. I want to remind you that I'm here every Saturday right here on Facebook Live and on Instagram. Facebook Live is my preference because I can be more interactive and the video stays up. It won't be gone after this. So those of you who are catching me on Instagram, if you didn't see the whole video, you can go to my Facebook page. So facebook.com/Coach My Mindset. And that's where you'll find all of these live videos. I will be here next Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, which is 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. Everyone have a wonderful Saturday. Sending you many love and blessings and wishing you smooth transitions through the changes in your life. Peace out.